Hey everybody! Alright, well today we're going to take a look at this massive beast. This is the Tomy Diecast Metal 1/350 scale fully lit Enterprise. This is an Enterprise that was crowdfunded. I was with some other crowdfunders about a little over a year ago, and this thing is massively huge. I just can't believe how big it is, and it's heavy. This is diecast metal, as I mentioned. This thing is, I'm not really sure how heavy it is, but you can see the UPS guys had their way with this, and there's another bigger gouge on the bottom, but I think it's pretty packed full of foam. So let's try to get it out of here, and I'll show you how it was packed in the foam. Alright, so I've got it out of the box now. I have to apologize in advance. This is going to be a long video. There is a lot to discuss when it comes to this model because, first of all, it's been a year and 2 months since the campaign to get this funded, and now that we got it, there's been some people that are a little upset with the way this model turned out. I'm going to see how I feel about it once we get it out of here, and I'll go into detail about all of it. But right now, this is the stand, and the stand was one of the points of contention when it came to this kit, or to this model, because it was changed. So let me get all this out of here. So one of the things that was changed with this is this part right here. This was an addition that was added on, as I think it was added on. Look at this. This is nice. It's the big chevron shaped, like their emblem on their shirts. This is going to support the saucer. Now this model has a separating saucer. This is the original series Enterprise. It was hinted in I think it was hinted in the series that the saucer could separate, but we didn't actually see that happen until the next generation. For me personally, the saucer separation feature that they added to this model was not something I really cared about. I didn't care about it at all. Look at that. It's got a nice goldish bronze color. Very cool. And this is going to be a heavy model, so this is going to have to be a really strong stand. All right, let me get that cover off. Okay, so I've cut the tape on this thing. Now, anxious to see what this looks like. Some of the things that people didn't like about this was, ooh, there it is. There it is. Wow, okay, wow, this is going to be, oh, wow, this is nice. Now, this is, wow, oh, man. Okay, so this is the same scale as the Polar Lights 1/350 scale Enterprise. I built two of those. I'll show you the one that I have that have the lights in it, and we'll compare the size differences. It looks almost exactly the same size. There's a bunch of stuff here on the side. Here, let me grab this real quick. This looks like it's part of the stand. Look at this. That's really neat. It's like a big clear section. All right, we'll have to figure out where that goes. And then these. Now this is really cool right here. I'll get them closer to the camera. So what these are is their little shuttlecraft. Look at that, we get 3. And then this is the doors for the back shuttlecraft bays. Now, because they reached a certain goal, we got these added in, which is really neat. And those will fit inside of the back of the shuttle bay. Here's some instructions. I'll have to look through that. Wow, let's take a look at this saucer. Oh, there's some batteries right here too. That's nice. They provide batteries. This is going to be battery powered. Oh, yes. Wow. Oh, this is nice. Wow, this is beautiful. Wow, look at that. One of my favorite features about the Enterprise is the rust ring, and it's really well done here. The weathering looks really good. We'll get a better close-up once I get everything all put together. There is a bridge. There is a bridge in there. And the bridge lights up. All the windows light up. There's the domes. Wow, this is nice. Now, Tomy was really good about keeping us up to date throughout the whole time they were making this, because they were letting us know what was going on. And one of the early versions of this, they got the weathering was really heavily done, and then they sent it back so that they could tone it down. This looks really good, and it looks about the same color as the original model. I think Gary Kerr, who's an expert on the 11-foot miniature, I think he helped with the coloring of this. Look at that. Okay, wow. This is going to be amazing. There's the other nacelle right there. What's under here? Oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in this. there's the lower section of it. Wow, I gotta say this is nicely packed. This is the stand for the saucer. This is the part that a lot of people were unhappy with, and I'm not really so sure I'm happy with this either, because this part ends up covering a lot of the bottom of the saucer. Looks like there's some hardware here too. All right, well, let me see if I can get this saucer out. Okay, let's see if I can get the saucer out of here. I want to be very careful with this. Ooh, wow. Ooh, yeah, this is heavy. Oh my gosh, this is a heavy saucer. Oh my gosh. That is a chunk of metal right there. Wow, this is nice. I'll get better views of this. Now, okay, so I'm going to turn this over because one of the points of contention with this was that there's screw holes that were supposed to be covered and seams that were supposed to be covered. And I can already see there's a seam right here. Probably get it in the light better, but it wasn't. By the time that this came to the end of production, Tomy ended up not fixing those issues. So the seams are visible, and then so are the screw holes. So let me turn this over. Ooh, here's the other side of it. Look at that. Wow. Oh, man. Okay, you know what? Here's the screw holes that a lot of people were upset about, but I'll be honest with you, they don't look that bad. They don't look that bad at all. In person, now that I'm looking at this is beautiful. Wow. I am so impressed with the way this looks right off the bat. And you know what? They even have this thing, this little thing that sticks out. I'm not sure you can see it. I don't have the best light on here. Like I said, I'll get a closer view. And for the longest time, I didn't even know the Enterprise had that little thing sticking up. I'm guessing that's the phasers. I don't really know. This is glorious. Wow. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get the other part of the ship out. Real quick, I just want to show you the detail I'm talking about. See that little thing that sticks up? Now you're going to have to make sure that when you are trying to put this thing together that you do not put the saucer on the bottom, bottom side down, because you will break that little thing. Look how nice that dome is, that planetary sensor. That looks really, really good. They got that goldish coloring in those rings. And they even detailed this out where it connects to the neck. You can see there's like greeblies that they put in here. And they even put like that little symbol right there. That's really cool. There's those holes that I was talking about, those hole plugs. And a lot of people were so upset about the hole plugs, they canceled their order on their Enterprises. Some people even had 2. But I was going to stick this out and see how I liked it. But I got to say, those really don't bother me that much. Okay, I managed to get this thing out of the box. I got to tell you, this was scary and tricky to get this out of there because you don't want to be pulling and yanking on the engine nacelles and putting stress on these struts. Oh, I'm out of breath from getting it out of there. This weighs a ton. This thing is so incredibly heavy. It's all metal, except for things like the plastic domes, possibly these. But I mean, this thing is a brute. It's an absolute brute. I think I read somewhere this model weighs about 20 pounds total. And once again, there's some hole plugs here that were another point of contention with people. And I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about them. To be honest with you, like I said, they don't look that bad in person. Once again, we have some wonderful details here. They got the greeblies on here just like they had on the other part of this. And it's going to go in with one screw. I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to talk about those hole plugs. Oh my gosh. Oh, this thing's crazy heavy. Okay, let me put this down. The parts that are remaining in here are that bit of hardware right there. That's the spine that covers where the screw goes. That's the other set of batteries. There's a clear post right here. And then that's the main sensor deflector right here. That's kind of hidden down inside here. There we go. So let me get everything all put together. So to put the first part of the stand together, you're going to take this clear piece right here and it just goes right in there. And then this part, these all fit perfectly right here. Just match up this hole with that part, like that. Match it all up, and then push it all in. And then once you do all that, you're going to screw it all in on the back. There's 2 screws provided, and you're going to screw them right there. And the second part is very similar. You have this piece here, fits into these, just like that. And then there's 3 more screws that hold it down here on the bottom. And these are all ready to go now, and they're going to go together just like that, and it makes one full thing. So I think they did include this part of the stand I said I thought that it was added later. Now I think it was part of it, but I think this part was changed. But anyway, we'll get back to that later. Okay, so now to put the batteries into the saucer, make sure whatever you do, do not place the saucer on the floor with this bottom side down. You want, because this is going to break for sure. This is a fragile thing. This just turns. It's very easy to turn it and then just grip it like this. This is metal and it's also beautiful. Look at that. It's very nicely done. You can see the little LEDs right in here. So now you're going to take a screwdriver and get that screw out of there for this compartment. And I like to even give you a little handle right here to grip it, because that's probably metal too if I'm not completely certain. But it's cool how they thought about that. All right, let me see if I can get a grip of this. Okay, I had a hard time getting that off of there, but once you get it off of here, there you go. So there is the battery compartment. You can see how deep that goes in there. Now, while I do appreciate that Tomy has provided the AA or AAA batteries for the saucer, I'm going to go ahead and use these fresh energizers, because energizers, at least from my experience, don't leak. And my experience with these factory-made ones always seem to leak after a while, especially if you forget that they're in there. Okay, batteries are in place. I hope that I got the polarity right. There's nothing on here that indicates which way it goes. So let me get that screwed in and put the planetary sensor back on. So the planetary sensor has these little notches that you can see here. This one's smaller than this one. So that way you can't put this on the wrong way, because that's a smaller one and the larger one, because you want that little thing right there sticking out. You want that to go forward on the forward part of the ship. So you just put that in like that and then turn it. It's a very simple way to replace those batteries. Now for the secondary hull, the batteries go on the front here. So this just turns to unlock. Now it actually fits a lot tighter. I've loosened it here just so that we can use this for demonstration purposes, and that comes straight off. This is metal. It's heavy. Very nice. I think the whole thing is metal as far as I can tell. Really nice piece. And once again, there's a screw, so let me get that taken off. And this bottom section uses 4 AA batteries. This has got bigger batteries because it's got to run those motors up on the nacelles up there. Now when you're putting this on, make sure you put it on right. It's got these little things that stick up here, here, and here. And then that one in the middle, it goes on the bottoms because it matches up with these things. Now this goes on pretty tight because you got to make sure that these match up with these things. So there's the notches in here like this, and this is all metal once again. And then just kind of turn it until it locks in place like that. And then you turn this, and you got to kind of push and turn to make sure it goes in all the way. It's kind of tight, but you'll know when it's matching right here that you've got it on there correctly. Okay, so now let's try to get this thing put together. Oh my gosh, let's grab this secondary hull here. Now this part, these 2 posts right here go into these 2 holes under here. I will show you the underside of this because I'm not sure I'll be able to show it to you afterwards. There's some great weathering right here. All right, so let's line these holes up. And let's hope I can get this in here. Sorry for the awkward view right now. Need to try to match up these holes. There we go. And this thing is so heavy. I gotta tell you, it's just amazing how heavy it is. Okay, so I'm not sure how far down those fit on those posts. Looks like that might be as far as it goes. All right, so let me go get the saucer. Okay, so now let me work my way over here. So we're gonna slide these together. Now I will say that I wish they would have put some kind of padding on here, because the bottom of the saucer rests on these, and I don't want this scratching up the bottom of the saucer, but I don't know. I think they should have done something about that. So this is gonna go on here. Now you gotta be, once again, very, very careful with that bottom little piece on the planetary sensor, and you got to try to line up the neck with the neck on the secondary hull. I hope I've got this on here right. Ooh, looks like I got it. All right, so now we got to bolt that together, so let's hope I can get that done in one piece. Okay, so now they provide a hex nut right here, and they also provide the hex nut wrench. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here like this. I'm a little wary about the fact that this goes on with just one bolt. I think this would have been better to have at least two. You know, at least one on one side, one on the other. I think I would feel more comfortable having that in there, but let's go ahead and tighten this up. Now it says do not over tighten, and they were very specific about that, so I'll just make sure it's snug. I think that's probably about as tight as I dare make it. Once you've got those two parts connected, you have this spine piece that goes on here. This is metal also, and it is magnetic. So you've got this little thing right here on the front that goes underneath the front like this. Just kind of get it in there, and then you just drop this in, and that covers that perfectly. Okay, so now before we check out all the cool light features on this, let's check this model out in general. This thing is so beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love this thing. It is one hefty boy. That is a hefty model. And it is the same scale as the 1/350 scale Polar Lights model. So if you built one of those or you're familiar with them, you'll know about how big this is. It weighs a ton. I think it's 20 pounds. It's a beast. It really is. Now, I have to agree with a lot of people about this stand. I am not a fan of this. Well, you know, this part of the stand is fine. I don't mind this. It's this thing right here. That's what really bothers me. I feel like this part of the stand was completely over-engineered. Why didn't they just have this post and that little cup? That would have been plenty of support for this. You don't really need all this, so I'm thinking I might take this out and just cut that off over there. At least I think that's what I might do. And I might put a little bit of felt where that's touching the saucer too, just to keep that from getting scratched up. So I really don't want that to get damaged. But yeah, this part here I just felt is unnecessary. And I'm sure that there's going to be people out there who are going to come out with some kind of alternative stand, maybe some 3D printed thing, and they're going to make a mint doing it, because there's going to be just about anybody who's bought this model is going to want to get this thing replaced. But this part of it is actually pretty sturdy. Let's take a look at this saucer here. This is really awesome. I love the way they painted this. Now it does have some grid work kind of visible. That was really visible before they sent it back for some repaints, and they did tone it down quite a bit, and I think it looks great. I'm not sure it's picking up on camera, but there's a greenish blue weathering on here, a little bit of rust color, and it looks just like the original 11-foot filming model. There's the rust ring, my absolute favorite part of the Enterprise. I don't know why I like that rust ring so much. I think it's because, to me, it kind of shows, you know, Kirk having put the Enterprise through, you know, a lot of things. We all saw the adventures they went through, and it just kind of feels like it's like a war wound that is well-deserved on the ship, and I think that's why I like it so much. Take a look at this bridge. That is so cool. There's a full bridge in there. And I think when you turn the lights on, that astrogator where Sulu and Chekhov sit, I think that lights up in the middle. But none of the controls light up. But still, the fact that they put all that detail in there, that is stunning. I did not expect them. I did not expect Tomy to put the detail of the bridge in there. That's awesome. And then this yellow thing right here, that is the button to turn on the lights for the saucer. I mean, how beautiful is that? It's a touch-sensitive button. It's not some unsightly switch that sticks out like the Enterprise D model from Eagle Moss, or now Fan Home. That was like something that looked really bad on that model. They found a way to incorporate the switch on here in a very nice and professional looking way. Here's the side. There is those seams on the side that Tomy said that they weren't going to have on there, and I'll talk more about why I think this happened with this and the screw hole covers. Here's this section down here, and let me get better light down there. Now, looking at this section down here, I love this bluish color they used for this stripe on the neck. You know, when I was building the 1/350 scale Polar Lights version, there's a lot of things about the Enterprise I never noticed. For instance, I never knew that there was a stripe on the front of the neck here, and I also didn't know that there was that little thing sticking out on the bottom of the planetary sensor either. But this is really cool. That window right there has got that reddish, orangish tint like the real 11-foot model has. I never did know why that particular window had that tint to it. I think it was just something that was inside there that was reflecting or something, but it's very distinctive to the Enterprise. Here's all this beautiful detail down here. That weathering looks really nice. It's not overdone, but it looks very well done the way they did that. Here's all the little markings on the side, the windows. This is very cool. Now, this is another thing that some people didn't like, is this kind of seam that goes up the side here, and you can also see there's some screw hole covers on there. Now, you know, I will say that I've owned a lot of different die-cast metal toys, models, etc., and they've always had stuff like this. That's just the way, it's the nature of the material, it's just the way it's made. So I was really not expecting this to be completely flawless with no seams and such, but you know, so that doesn't really bother me. Seams have never really bothered me on model kits and stuff. Even when I've done model videos, you know that I've not been a big you know, I've never really worried about, you know, seams all that much. So these don't really bother me that much. The screw holes, those are, well, we'll look at the other side of this ship and I'll show you how that looks. But this is really well done. Here are the nacelles. We'll check out the lights on this. It's got this nice orange color on here. The little connectors, they even put like a little bit of gold or something on there. There's that light on the top. This looks really good. There is a seam that runs down here as well that I think some people weren't keen on, but once again, that doesn't bother me either. There's some nice weathering. The intercoolers, look at that. That looks really good. And they have like a silver color in the middle, and then there's like some weathering on the end. So that's really well done, and I love the way that looks. Looking at the back end here, we see the shuttlecraft bay. This is really cool. Now it is fully detailed in there, and I will show this when I get the lights turned on so you can see inside there, because it does light up. And all three of the shuttlecraft will fit in there, although I think I'm just going to only put one because it seems like it would be a little bit cramped. Here's the door for this, and I think it just snaps in place. I haven't really messed with this. I think it just kind of goes on like this. I think you can push it in a little bit further. I don't know if I'm going to use this or not. I think I might leave it open just because, you know, why would you want to hide the cool detail of the shuttlecraft in there? But it's very cool that they provide this piece. And it comes off nice and easy, and then these also light up as well. Okay, so now let's take a look at the controversial starboard side of the ship. And the reason that it's controversial is because of the screw holes that a lot of people were really upset about. So here you can see one there's some back here. There is some on here like I showed you on the other side. And there's some on the neck. Now, you know what, I gotta say, seeing this in person, they don't look that bad. They really don't look that bad. And in fact, from like maybe a couple feet away, without like bright studio lights on it like I've got here, you're not gonna really see those. So yeah, they're not as bad as I thought they were gonna look. Yes, they could look better. Yes, they could have puttied over those and fixed them and all that stuff. And I'll talk about that later as to why I think that wasn't done. But you know, overall, no, I'm not, this is not a deal killer for me. I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks, you know, just fine. But I will agree that this side is the side that is more displayable because that part of the stand isn't blocking the ship like it is on the left side. And I don't know why they chose to put that piece. Well, first of all, I don't even know why they have that section in there. But also, if you're going to have it in that on the stand, why not put it on this side so that everybody can display it you know, on the port side. That way you're not looking at these, you know, since everybody's concerned about those. But, you know, once again, I don't think they don't look that bad to me. But yeah, I think I am going to alter this. We'll see how that works, and maybe it'll work out better. I just want to show you that you can, in fact, display this model without that front stand. You can have it on here. When Tomy first showed us this model, this is the way it looked. It was just on this part. So we were all kind of shocked when this other edition of the stand was added. And everybody was like, you know, what the heck is that? So I guess Tomy decided that the saucer, being as heavy as it is and hanging off as much as it was, is completely front heavy and needed to add that. So I think that added to their cost because we had already paid for these models in advance. So that's why I think they added it in there. But you can display it like this, and I think it definitely looks better. I think that's the way it was intended to be displayed. But Tomy says, well, they suggest that you don't leave it like this for long periods of time. They said you can go ahead and display it like this for short periods, but they don't recommend that you leave it like this all the time because there's too much stress going on right here, especially when there's only one screw holding that on. Well, notice anything different? There it is. I got rid of that big chunk of plastic. I decided to alter this stand, and this works just fine. This is what Tomy should have done, since if they're going to add an extra part to this stand, they should have just went with something simple like this. This is really all they needed, was just this post and this cup. Now, I'm still not a fan of this thing resting on there. I know that's going to eventually scrape the paint on there, and I did try putting some felt on there, but I was worried that the glue would eventually seep through the cloth or the felt and then end up sticking to the paint. So I'm just going to leave it like that. It's not like I'm going to take it off of there a whole lot, but look at how much better that looks. Now you can display it on the good side without the hole plugs, and it looks just fine. I mean, you can go either way, but it really does get that chunk out of there. Now let me show you what I did with that. So what I ended up doing is just cutting this entire piece off like I showed you. Now I took a Dremel with a cutting wheel and chopped this off, and then what was left over, of course, was the little cup. Now, like any surgery, there's going to be some scars, scar tissue on there, so you can see that there is some markings on there from where that piece was. Now there's a hole there because when I was using a Dremel to sand down, so when you cut that piece off, there's going to be some leftover plastic on here because this actually sticks up quite a bit up here. And so I used a Dremel to grind all of that down, and then I used sandpaper to just kind of finish it off. And then I used a very fine sandpaper to make it even, make the scratches even less defined. But this piece right here, there's like a dip in the plastic. See it right there? And I didn't notice it. So when I was grinding that down, it made that hole go all the way through. But it's not a big deal because, and I'm not really sure why that was there. It's like some kind of weird mold mark or something. But anyway, I used some very fine sandpaper as the last sanding, and then to get this clear again, I put some quick shine floor wax on here. It's a model trick that a lot of people use in the model building world, and you just put some wax on here, the floor wax, and it helps clear that up. You can see it's very clear. So I put about, I don't know, 4 coats of it on here. So I just spread it on there, blow dried it for about, several minutes, and then put another layer and just kept going back and forth, and that's what got that nice and clear. So now you can put this back on here like this, and there we go. So yeah, and look at that. You don't have all that clutter in there from that piece. All right, now let's take a look at the lights because they are amazing. Now, as I said, there are buttons on here to turn them on, and they're touch buttons. The first one is up here for the saucer. There it is. And the other one is down here, and I'll show you where it is on a close-up. And there we go. Oh, that is so amazing. That is remarkable. Just want to make sure that it's showing up good on camera. Okay, yeah, so you can see all the nice windows in there. All the windows are lit. You got the cool little blinker beacon back here. The navigation lights. I'll get a close-up of all of this. I want to show you that bridge and also the back here where the shuttle bay is. But, oh, it's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so now let's start with the saucer section here. There are the navigation lights, the red and green. Very cool. There's these lights that go around the outside. Ah, this is so cool. There's that one on the front. And then here is the BC deck. Look how nice that looks. Got the red lights on the side right there. There is that bridge. Look at that beautiful, beautiful bridge. See if I can try to hold this steady enough that you can see inside there. So see how Sulu and Chekhov's console has that lit astrogator? I believe it's what that's called. You can see Captain Kirk's chair. You can also see the red rails that go around it. There's some stuff going on right here. They don't have the stations lit, but that's fine. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. You know what? Look at that. It almost looks like those screens on the top are lit on the top of the consoles. I'm not sure if that's what that is or if it's just the way that this is lit on the inside. And then on the front here, it almost looks like the main view screen is lit. I can't really tell. Let me see under the underside here. No, I think it's just some plastic thing that's in there, but man, that's really cool. Look at that. Talk about detail. I love that they did that. Here's the underside now. So just like the actual filming model, that is a white blinking light while that one is red. Same with that side, it's white and then it's green on the other side. Look at this beautiful lighting under here. Oh boy, that looks so cool. Now, like I said, this cup thing that they used for the support down here, it does kind of take away a little bit from being able to see that nice detailing on the planetary sensor right there. But you know, it is clear and you can see it, and that's pretty cool. Wow, this is pretty neat. Now these lights aren't super bright like they're showing on camera here. You know, a lot of times cameras like to make these lights look much brighter than they are. But that looks fantastic. Here's the neck. I forgot to mention this seam up here where that connects. Some people weren't too keen on that. But once again, like I said, it's not a deal killer for me. Love the way that looks. There's that reddish colored, orangish colored. It's more orange in person. That one window on the neck, I noticed it on the 11-foot when I got to see it, the 11-footer. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. All the way back here. I love those little demarcations that they had on there. I never knew that the Enterprise had that until the 1/350 scale polar lights came out. Look at that. There's a greenish window right there. I think that's just kind of some leftover light from that top one. Here is the main sensor dish. Ah, so cool. On the top here, you can see that there is the red and blue lights right there. And then even this green dome light, you can see they put the individual lights in there, just like the actual filming model has. That's really cool. Here is the awesome shuttle bay. I should point out that these lights are really cool on the front. But look inside there. That is a fully detailed interior. You can see all the detail on the walls right there. Even has that little tower thing on the upper right that we always saw when the shuttle was getting ready to leave. Look at all that detail in there. See if I can focus. You can see the doors in there. You can even see the markings on the floor, just like the actual filming model had. There's the other side right there. I mean, that is detail. That is absolutely beautiful. Ah, that is so cool. You get 3 of these shuttlecraft, and we got 3 as a bonus for hitting a certain threshold during the crowdfunding. So this one on the left is Columbus, and the one on the right is Einstein. I already have the Galileo 7 in the Enterprise, but those the writing is so small on those, I had to use a jeweler's loupe to read it. And there it is with the Galileo shuttlecraft in there. Oh man, that is so cool. Now you can fit all 3 of them in there, but it looks too cluttered to me. I just feel like there should only be the one. And I will also say that once you get it in there, good luck trying to get it out. I had to use tweezers to get it out of there. You have to grip the nacelles in order to get it out, but I don't plan on taking it out, but it might move around a little bit. But yeah, it sure looks cool sitting in there. That is fantastic. Before I turn on the motors for the Bussard collectors, I just want to show you, look at those lights. They look just like the original filming model, because they have those weird blinking, you know, like the blue, the green, the red. It looks just like the actual filming model. All right, so now the button for this is another really cleverly hidden one. It's right here. It's this little panel right here. So when you touch that, let's see if I can do it. There we go. And now there we are. Look at that. That is so cool. And they're turning in the right direction. They turn inward. There's the other one. Straight on view of it right there. Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic. Oh, God, I love that. And you know what? Those motors are quiet. They are very, very quiet. I am surprised how quiet they are. Now there's 3 speeds, so the first time you touch it, it turns that button, it turns on the lights. The second time is when it turns these on. If we touch this again, it speeds these up a little bit. That's like medium speed right there. Just like that. And then one more time, and it's the fastest speed. And that's the fastest. That's a little too fast for my liking. Most of the time that you saw this, it was in the slower speed. Now when you touch it again, it shuts everything off. That whole secondary hole is shut off. Of course, these stay on because they're on a different power source. So we turn this back on again, turning on the lights, and then we touch it once. It's very cool. Now one thing I do wish is maybe if they made it so that when you press and hold that, it just shuts it off so you don't have to keep cycling through the other speeds. But no big deal. The fact that they even did all that looks great. That looks fantastic. I am so impressed with these. Those motors, I can't believe how quiet they are. There's that red light on the top there, and then the green over here. It's all there. It looks fantastic. Wow. Very, very impressive. Okay, so here is the Polar Lights Enterprise next to the Tomy Enterprise. So you can see they are the same exact size. Now this one I built years ago, and I wanted to do a different kind of weathering on it than most people were doing. So I just kind of put some streaks on here. I went real heavy with the rust ring because I love that rust ring, as I mentioned. I wanted it to be really dark on this. And I didn't go for the real expensive lighting kit because this already was an expensive lighting kit. So none of the windows light up on the ship. And the planetary sensor and the bridge did used to light up, but for some reason they stopped working. So, you know, that's kind of the thing about putting lights in models, but you can see these navigation lights are blinking. And then back there, you can see that strobe. Now the Bussard collectors on this one, there we go. These don't use spinning motors. These are, it's like a round circuit board in there, and the LEDs move in a circular pattern like that. And it also has the blinkers in there too. I think I got that from Tenna Controls. But yeah, this one's not nearly as advanced as this one. This is like the full Monty right here, because everything lights up. But I just wanted to kind of show you what the two look like side by side. Okay, so I want to address some of the negativity that this thing has gotten. So number one were these screw hole covers that I mentioned before. So Tomy did say that when we first saw initial pictures of this, we saw the screw hole covers in the seams like this. And they said, don't worry, we are going to fill those in, we'll sand them and paint over them, you won't even know they're there. And then when we got the model, this is what we got. And the final picture, they told us, they sent us an email, they said we couldn't address this issue. Now that seam up there, they weren't going to fill that one because that's where the saucer separates, obviously. Now I think this is probably what happened when it came to this. So I think, quite frankly, I think Tomy just ran out of money to fix this. So the cost of this model, and I'm going to put only in quotation marks, like only $600 is how much this cost. $600 for this model. Now this is die-cast metal. It is a beast. It's heavy, it's huge. All the lights look fantastic on this thing. All the detail, the bridge, the shuttle bay, all of that. For $600, I'm sorry, but I think that is a bargain. I think that this had, I mean, if anybody else had made this, I think it would have cost at least $1,000, especially being made of metal. So I kind of think Tomy underpriced this. And I think that was the main draw for a lot of people when they saw this, is that, wow, it's only $600 and it's die-cast metal. And so it was the main draw for me because I already have enough Enterprises around, but I really did like this thing. So I think what happened is Tomy had to keep sending this back for corrections and stuff. Originally the paint on the saucer, as you can see the crisscrossing, that was really super dark and it didn't look very good. They definitely lightened it up here, and some people still don't like that look, but I'm fine with it. And the weathering, of course, looks great because the 11-footer does have all of that. So I think that, you know, every time they had to send the model back to China, which I'm sure is where this is made, it costs money. You know, it costs money. They send you the prototype, and then the guys take a look at it, and they're like, well, this isn't right, and this isn't right. So by the end of the time that they were going to be shipping these, this was already delayed by 2 months. This was supposed to come out in August of 2023. I'm making this video in October of 2023. And so it was delayed by 2 months because they had to make those paint corrections. So when they sent the model back again, that's when they saw that these hole covers were still there and the seams. But by this time, they'd already delayed it by 2 months, and I don't think Tomy wanted to aggravate the customers any further. And plus, I think they just didn't have enough money to go send this back to have that corrected, because that would have cost more money again. So, you know, it's because they charged $600 for this, I think. And I'm not saying I wanted to pay more for it, but I do think realistically they probably should have charged, well, at least $800 for it, a couple $100 more. But I appreciate the fact that they only, quote unquote, charged $600 for it, because what you get here for $600 is pretty darn amazing in my opinion. But yeah, I think that's why that wasn't resolved with those screw hole covers. Now, of course, the other point of contention with this was that stand, and I have to agree, I didn't like that stand. So as I mentioned, when we first got pictures of this, this model was presented with just this stand right here. So the model was standing freely with just that, and it looked great. But then when we all of a sudden saw this other chunk of plastic underneath here, we're like, what the heck is that? Where did that come from? And especially because this kind of covers that detail right there. But the other problem is that this is the beauty side of the model. It doesn't have the hole covers, and yet that big chunk of plastic was right here covering part of this area. So I'm really glad I did this modification by just cutting that part off. I don't even know why they put that section on there. It's completely unnecessary. It doesn't really add to the support of this piece, because the main thing that's holding up the weight of that saucer is that rod right there. That's all they needed to do, is just put that on there. And like I said, you can display this without that at all, but it's not recommended. And I do think that over the course of time, the weight of the saucer is going to harm that. With only having one bolt that holds that in, they really should have put 2 bolts in there. And you know, I mean, here's the thing about the Enterprise. It works great in space where there's no gravity, but here on Earth, this just doesn't, you know, work very well, because gravity's pulling on every part of this thing. I mean, this saucer is front heavy. You've got 8 pounds of metal here trying to be supported by just that one connection right there. You've got these nacelles, and the center of gravity would be more in the center, but they got the struts over here. I mean, it's just the design of the ship, and so you got all this weight hanging over here. Now, I'm hoping that over the course of time that those nacelles don't droop, because that is a problem with a lot of these models, and especially this being made of metal. But I'm assuming that the connection point for this is going to be super strong as well as down there, and especially since it is made of metal. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really too concerned about that drooping. But yeah, you know, the overall design of the Enterprise just kind of, unfortunately, invites sagging just because of the way it is designed. But, you know, who's going to argue about the beauty of this ship? Now, I know quite a few people that had this on order, and then once it was discovered about the screw hole covers, seams, and all that stuff, they were kind of upset about it, and they were like, you know, well, Tomy did not deliver what was promised, and they were all upset about it. But quite frankly, you know, no model is perfect. No model is perfect. I don't care who's building it. There's going to be flaws on it somewhere. And I mean, even the special effects models have flaws on it when you take a look at them close up. And so, you know, I'm not saying that it excuses any of the stuff that happened here, but I do think that some of the people that had canceled their order, I think they're going to regret that decision. I really do. And I know some people who canceled it and then they uncanceled, because after they saw some people making videos of this, some people got this thing early. I'm not sure how that happened, but they did. And they changed their mind and thought, you know, well, it's not as bad as I thought. So, but the ones that did cancel, I do think some of them are going to regret that decision, because this is a limited edition Enterprise. Now, if any of you know what the limited edition number for this is, please comment in the comments, because I don't know how many of these they made. But Tomy made it very clear that this is a one and done thing. They said that once these are done, they're not making anymore, and they're obviously done making them. And they said that they are going to destroy the molds. So there's not going to be any more of these Tomy Enterprises. So yeah, I'm really glad I got one. In fact, since I discovered a bunch of people had canceled theirs, I called Tomy and I said, well, since some people have canceled theirs, I'm wondering if you're going to have some extras left over. And if so, I'd like to buy another one. So I am on the waiting list to buy another one of these, because I kind of want one to be kept in the box minty fresh. I just want to say that I am very grateful to Tomy for making this thing. I think it's beautiful. I have never seen an Enterprise in this scale made of metal, and I mean, it's just a stunning piece. The 2 guys that were in charge of this said they really wanted this to be a special piece, and I think they achieved that. I really do. I love all these details. I mean, it's just fantastic, everything that this thing has got. And for $600, yeah, it's amazing. So, you know, this is Tomy's first go at these high-end collectibles. I think they're going to try, they want to enter the high-end collectible market. So the next piece that they are crowdfunding is the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And I'm already on that crowdfunding list. And it's the first DeLorean from the first movie. I'm hoping that they've learned some lessons on this to make sure that that comes out, you know, as good as it can possibly be. But for their first go around, this is awesome, absolutely awesome, and I'm hoping they're going to make more of these Enterprises. I really do. So the Enterprise refit is my all-time favorite Enterprise, the one that we saw in the movies, Star Trek 1 through 6. But I've always got a soft spot for the original series because that's the show I grew up with originally, and because I've had the honor of seeing the 11-foot miniature at the Smithsonian twice. I got to see it twice, and the second time that I was there, I actually got to touch it because it was in touching distance, and so there was some people touching it, and of course I had to touch it too. So I kind of feel like I had a special connection there with it. But this is a beautiful model, and I think it's great. So thank you to Tomy for making this. Keep up the good work. I just want to see them keep going, and you know, hey, more competition in this market, the better. You know, it keeps these things from getting ridiculously overpriced, because a lot of this stuff is just so overpriced. It's just ridiculous. And this is something that I think that we need more of, especially in the economy today. At least it was affordable. But I hope this doesn't, you know, end up kind of hurting Tomy. I hope they made money on this. I hope they made some money on it. I hope they didn't lose any money. All right, well, that is my review of this wonderful piece, and if you want one of these, if you haven't gotten one, get on Tomy's wait list. I don't know how many of these are going to have left after all is said and done, but you can at least get on the wait list and maybe get one if you want one. And if you can't do that, the only way you're going to be able to get one is on eBay, and I can guarantee you that they're going to go for a lot more than $600. So anyway, I think it's great. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I very much appreciate it. So I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.